Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, keep you informed, maybe with a few surprises along the way. Today, we're diving into an idea that's about really deep change, not just, surface level techniques, but something internal. Okay, let's unpack this. We're focusing on service-oriented leadership and specifically its power to transform things through a fundamental mindset shift. Our source material, it's a really candid LinkedIn post by Gunther Williams. He's the CEO of Idaho Sewing for Sports LLC. It's called Beyond Self-Deception: How Service-Oriented Leadership Transforms Teams and Workplace Culture. So this isn't just theory, it's straight from a CEO's experience. Our mission for you, listening in, is to understand how this one kind of core shift in how you see things can create real, measurable, positive change anywhere, really, any team, any organization.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating here right from the start is how Gunther zeroes in on this idea that real transformation, it's not about the latest management book or some checklist. It's actually rooted entirely in a mindset shift, like a complete reorientation, moving from being focused inward on yourself to looking outward, focused on service. And he's pretty honest about falling into what he calls self-deception, which he describes as basically thinking you're doing everything right while kind of quietly blaming your team if things go wrong. That really hits home, doesn't it? Because, I mean, who hasn't felt that disconnect sometimes? So this deep dive, we're going to explore how radically changing the way you actually see people, well, how that can unlock genuine growth for everyone involved.
That honesty right at the beginning about the self-deception, that feels like the real starting point, doesn't it? He actually admits he used to see people as just obstacles or tools. I mean, can you imagine leading like that? Seeing your team not as, well, people with their own needs and hopes and challenges, but just means to your end. You can almost feel the walls that kind of thinking puts up, Walls against trust, collaboration, real connection. Sounds pretty lonely, actually.
Oh, absolutely lonely. And the big breakthrough for him, the way he tells it, was realizing leadership isn't mainly about controlling things or even about being right all the time. It's really about serving the growth and success of the people around you. He mentions things like the outward mindset, which is basically seeing people as people, not objects, and the go-giver, this idea of always giving massive value. These weren't just like nice ideas he read about. They gave him actual frameworks for that internal shift. His guiding principle became something like the law of value. Give more in value than you take in payment. Now, that's not just a business slogan. It's a fundamental shift away from thinking transactionally towards something more reciprocal, more abundant. It changes every conversation, every interaction. And this is where that mindset change started showing real results.
Okay, so he changes his internal view, that core mindset, and then he says the world around him, his workplace, it transformed in three big ways. That's a pretty huge claim, but he backs it up. First, he saw psychological safety just flourish. And what's really interesting isn't just that it got better, but why? He started modeling vulnerability, being open to feedback himself. And that basically showed everyone else, hey, it's okay to be human here. It's safe.
That's the key link, isn't it? Because when a leader shows vulnerability, it doesn't just make them seem more human. It actually reshapes the whole team dynamic. It signals that being open isn't weakness, it's actually a strength. And once you have that foundation, well, it naturally led to the second big change he noticed. Conversational capacity got way better. It's moving from a culture that might have been based on maybe a little bit of fear to one built on trust that allows, even encourages, safety for everyone.
Yeah, that improvement in conversations, that's really insightful, especially if you've ever been in one of those really awkward team meetings. He says they stopped focusing on blame. Instead, they shifted to curiosity, to learning. So when tough topics came up, instead of fighting or just avoiding them, they balanced being direct with being genuinely curious, asking questions, which led to, healthy discussion. It kind of reminds me of times when nobody dared speak up and the team just went along with a bad plan because of fear. Gunther's story shows how just being honest can break that.
It really does.
Yeah.
It turns conflict from something potentially damaging into something constructive, something you can learn from. And the third big shift, maybe the most empowering one, was how the team members themselves changed. They went from seeing themselves sometimes as, victims of circumstance or maybe even villains in conflicts to becoming creators, coaches, and challengers. Just think about the energy change there, right? When people stop just complaining about problems and start actually figuring out solutions for them, that's the power. It's not just the leader seeing them differently. It's about them taking ownership.
Right. That's where the rubber meets the road, yeah. This mindset shift allowed his team to actually shape what happens, not just react to it. And the results, they speak for themselves. Gunther reported engagement scores went up 25%, innovation increased, turnover dropped A lot. And this was within months. Those aren't tiny tweaks. Those are serious, measurable wins, all stemming from one leader changing how he viewed his job and his people.
Those metrics are really compelling. It's strong proof this isn't just, some feel-good idea. It's a practical way to build a better organization. But maybe let's push on this a tiny bit. Gunther's story is powerful. His company's real. But is a mindset shift always enough by itself?
Yeah.
Or, in maybe a bigger, more complex place, you need specific structures or tools alongside it to make it stick. Though Gunther's advice on how to start is incredibly simple, isn't it? Yet profound. He basically said, just ask yourself, am I seeing my team as people or as objects? Am I focused on what I can get or how I can serve? Those questions, they force you to look inward, don't they?
Yeah, and it's not like a one and done thing either. He talks about needing regular practices like reflection, asking for feedback, telling stories that reinforce this service mindset. It's about constantly working on it, cultivating it, not just having one big light bulb moment. So wrapping this up, what does it all mean? The core message from Gunther Williams seems really clear. The most powerful way to transform as a leader isn't about learning some new technique. It's about getting past that self-deception trap and making a real ongoing commitment to serving the growth of the people you lead. The impact, as he showed, it's huge. Psychological safety goes up, conversations get real, people step up as creators, coaches, challengers. It really is about changing your perspective first, and that changes everything else.
And this leaves us with, an important question for you, the listener, to think about. Gunther ends by saying this mindset creates ripples that transform entire cultures. So the question is, how could embracing this kind of service-oriented mindset in your own world, work, community, maybe even personal relationships, how could that create similar positive ripples? It really does come down to how you choose to see and interact with others. The power of that internal shift to make things happen externally.
Powerful stuff, right? Really makes you think. We hope you take this insight with you, explore how shifting your own view might create some amazing ripples. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive and want more like it, please do subscribe to the Positive Impact University podcast channel. You can find us on whatever platform you use for podcasts. Keep learning, keep making a positive impact. Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive today.